Now, we begin with brand new numbers on inflation and what they reveal about the struggles that Americans are facing as the president faces accusations of bailing out wealthy Democratic tech donors. The Consumer Price Index is out for the month of February, rising 0.4% from January and up 6% over last year. Food costs are up nearly 10% as a whole, and I don't have to tell you that basic staples like eggs have jumped 55%. While gas is down ever so slightly, other energy costs are sky high. And the biggest banking failure since the 2008 financial disaster is now adding to the country's economic concerns. But it's also fueling a partisan blame game. Republicans are blasting President Biden's response to the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, accusing him of giving special treatment to some of his party's biggest donors, while the White House is busy pointing fingers at the last administration. Typical. Watch.
Thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. During the Obama-Biden administration, we put in place tough requirements on banks like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, including the Dodd-Frank law to make sure that the crisis we saw in 2008 would not happen again. Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements.
So, Jerry, in prime Democratic form, the answer, according to Biden, is more government, right? More regulations, more government.
More money.
Intervention.
More of our money. That's what's
That's
so
right.
disturbing here. And I think the thing that a lot of people are latching on to, right? Here's what happened over the weekend and what I think. Today people are saying, the Dow's up 400 points. It's all over. Nothing to see here. Everything will be okay. Nothing could be further from the truth. And let me tell you why. Because essentially what the president did and Treasury, they said, guess what? That $250,000 guarantee that the FDIC gives individuals if there's a problem with their bank, all of us have it, that applies to everybody at any amount. So they can't go out and save Silicon Valley Bank and then a month later, 2 months later, 2 years later say they're not going to save this bank and make all of the investors whole. The cost of this is about $15 billion. I can tell you the administration is saying that money is going to come from fees, but those fees are set up for us, not for these companies who on the West Coast, deep-pocketed venture capitalists are being saved here. And what's happening to Americans who are paying 6% inflation?
And here's my follow-up question, Jerry. So for those that argue this is a contained environment, that essentially the administration is now jumping on the grenade, that being said, we've seen in the big banks, they're sort of decreasing solvency because people are worried and pulling them out. They're pulling out their investments, and we've seen that the market has sort of shuddered with this. We also know that what presaged the 2008 financial collapse was in part the government meddling. So against this landscape, we are seeing the president increase government intervention with our money, as you just described. So how will it be contained? How sure and how confident can we be that it won't have a ripple effect that might have more devastating consequences?
I have to tell you, I asked this very question to some of my trader sources down at the New York Stock Exchange this morning. I was working the telephones for you guys, trying to figure out what's going on, and they're telling me, hey, may not be over, we don't know. Their positive reaction today is really to the idea that what the government's doing here means that maybe the Federal Reserve will stop raising interest rates so fast. They think the next rate hike will be a quarter point or maybe zero.
All right. And what's interesting, Kaylee...
Hey, Emily, I'm so sorry. Would you forgive me? We have a little bit of breaking news on this very subject, so I'll just get this out there.
Of course.
Department of Justice now is investigating Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Fox News can confirm independently that the Justice Department is probing SVB collapse. Early stages, and as expected, this was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. So this is kind of coming in spurts from our David Spunt, but I wanted to just get those lines infused.
Yeah. What a perfect segue to my question to you, Kaylee, because the shareholders have actually sued the officers of the bank. They argue in this lawsuit that, per Harris's breaking news recitation just there, that there was active concealment, that they actively concealed the way that the interest rate plays into essentially their fiduciary duty. And as Jerry just described, what the government has jumped in to protect doesn't include the shareholders at that level, right? Because they assumed the risk on their own. So perhaps now they're going to face civil liability as well as potential criminal repercussions. but that still doesn't affect the average Americans that are watching this and that are concerned for their welfare.
That's right. Everyone's pointing fingers. But where I want to point the finger and where I think it needs to be pointed, look, there's probably wrongdoing there that needs to be looked in, no doubt about it. So I'm glad legal recourse is being pursued. But the monetary policy and the decisions of the federal government cannot be insulated. They can point all day at SVB and say, look, there were bad actors here. But they have four fingers pointing back at them because they're involved in this. And Biden, we saw him trying to avert blame to the last administration. The Wall Street Journal took that apart and said this still would have happened absent that 2018 bipartisan law that was passed that changed Dodd-Frank. But I want to point to this. The Biden administration, they must be out there planning stories. They know what they did was try to tamp down a crisis because Axios headline, Inside Biden's SVB move to stop future bank runs. Politico, how Biden saved Silicon Valley startups. These headlines don't come about by chance. They come about because you have a White House who realizes that they gave what is, in essence, some can say a pseudo bailout, some would say not. They don't want to look like they are giving taxpayer dollars to these rich Silicon Valley execs. But we've got to ask the question, how did we get here? We go from crisis to crisis. Afghanistan, Ukraine, inflation, baby formula, bank runs. This wasn't happening during the 4 years of President Trump. It's happening now. And they want the narrative to be Biden saved the day. But the real narrative is Biden caused this, and but for the president of the United States, we would not be here.
And the prior 4 years, Jake, was actually, that was a deviation from what the Obama administration enjoyed for 8 years, which was a cozy in-bed relationship with Silicon Valley that Biden has simply resurrected, right? So we know that the largest donorship to the vice president, to the president, includes those Silicon Valley sort of tech moguls, and especially in including the regulation favor that they've enjoyed for those 8 years and now for these 4. So to your point, they created entirely this landscape of dependency as well, I argue, culturally, because the reason that the risk assessment team was looking the other way the entire time at SVB was because they were too busy with the woke distraction to the right, and that's why they weren't prepared, in like in all industries, because of what this administration encourages.
Well, it is true. They had no risk management officer, but they had a DEI officer at this bank. And make no mistake, this is not East Palestine Bank. This is not the Ohio Valley Bank. This is Silicon Valley Bank. They're going to be taken care of. The Democrats take care of their own. That's what's happening here. And it is true that the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank last week, he exercised, I believe, $3 or $4 million in individual share proceeds. Okay, and he had non-public information at the time that there was a run on his bank, and he still allowed that share purchase or that share withdrawal to go through. I mean, that just kind of shows the moral bankruptcy, no pun intended, of these Silicon Valley Bank executives, and just this whole venture capital government relationship is the true public-private partnership that is corrupting our country.
Sounds like a Paul Pelosi move.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what, just to get back to what you were saying, Jerry, about that particular pool of people who bank there, the richest of the rich, and bailing them out far above the FDIC insured amount of $250,000, which is all that we can have. Right? We can't get above that.
Right.
A lot of donors, I would have to imagine, among the Democrats at that bank, maybe. Maybe not so many donors, Democratic donors, at any bank in East Palestine, Ohio. Just a question,
And
just
so-
an observation.
And those rules will not apply to regular Americans.
No,
right?
of course
we
they
will not
won't.
get those benefits.
Because that would be a
That's what
bailout.
is so upsetting. Well, I think this technically is a bailout.
It is.
You've got to call it a bailout.
All right, so 2 investigations. The Justice Department, the Securities and Exchange Commission, both investigating now the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. I want to get to just this one part because I've been reading into it a bit here. The investigations are examining stock sales that Silicon Valley Bank financial officers made, which is what you were talking about, Jake, just days before the bank failed. The Justice Department is investigating any involvement the department's fraud prosecutors in Washington and San Francisco can uncover as well. And the SVP Financial Chief Executive Greg Becker did not return a phone message seeking any comment on this. I don't think we're shocked
Talk to my lawyer.
about that, but you can bet they're going to be really, really pushing. So they're going after the California lender, was taken over by regulators last week amid those historic run-on deposits. And it's all the same of what you were saying, Jake, just in terms of what they were doing with the money, not, months ago necessarily, but days and moments before the bank failed. What about those bonuses that were paid running out the door in the last few weeks.
And just to make one more point here, the effect of what the Biden administration did is that all banks will now take more risk because guess what? You know you're backed up.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
what the
Oh,
moral
my
of the
goodness.
story
That's
is.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
moral
I find it ironic that the SEC is now investigating them when they've been distracted this entire time, ensuring that everyone complies with what a carbon footprint and the like,
Yes.
rather than complying with protecting average Americans. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.